Lovely people. Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. So, firstly, for those of you that came yesterday and got coaching, it was such a great call. The replay is already in the group for you. Definitely worth watching. And you've already seen some people share their amazing notes and takeaways. Um, whether you're watching the replay or you came live, be sure to think about what your biggest takeaways are. It's like one of the most valuable things that we can do whenever we're consuming anything is not just consume it, but put it into our own words somehow. So really encourage you to do that. So today I am popping on to talk about pro and cons list or pros and cons lists. I wasn't sure about the grammar in the title. Maybe some of you can help me. But the idea very simply being that I am not pro and cons list or pro. I'm just going to call them a PC list from now on. Then I don't need to continue to make grammatical errors. So we're going to call a pro and cons list a PC list. And I am not pro a PC list. And I'm going to tell you why exactly. And then I'm going to tell you what to do instead. And it all comes down to optimizing how you make decisions, how to make decision making easier, faster, and more successful for you. That is the aim of the game. That is going to be what allows you to step out of hustle and indecision and drama into forward action with ease. I just want to remember this came up on the live coaching call. Like, how I define hustle is not like the number of things that you do in a day. That's really just like the number of things you do in a day, but it's like the energy behind them. So just want to be super clear on that. And yeah, so how often, I mean, you guys can even post in the comments if you do use the PC list method. If you've been taught it, if you remember it, I'm going to call you out a little bit. You're going to feel very seen in a moment. Here's what happens when we write a pros and cons list. And I spent years doing this. I promise you, I was the PC list queen. But here's what we're doing when we're writing all the pros and all the cons down on a pretty piece of paper this is how I say it to my clients, like, you are creating future ammo for your brain to convince you that you made the wrong choice, right? Like, you are writing all the reasons why option A could be good or bad, and then all the reasons why option B could be good or bad. And then later, when you've chosen option B and something doesn't go perfectly to plan, as is life, your brain already has a list of reasons why you chose wrong. And it's immediately going to want to tell you that you chose wrong. And it like happens in an instant. It's so easy. The truth is, when you are employing the PC list method, it's because you have two options where both of them are okay. It's not like a clear, definitely not option A, like we're definitely not doing that. It's really like, I could do A or I could do B. Let me write my PC list and see which one I'm going to do. So that's why it's really important to acknowledge that, okay? Because of what I'm going to say next, what I'm going to say the solution is. Some of you are going to be like, ugh. But we want to just be really honest that we've said that both options would be okay. That's why we're even deciding between these two options anyway. So instead of writing all the pros and all the cons of the decisions and creating all of this evidence that we're going to use later against ourselves, against that decision, how I teach decision making, one of the ways to my clients to help them make quick, fast, smart decisions, because we have to decide before doing anything. So if our decisions are taking a long time, things aren't getting done, everything is taking a long time, the best thing we can do is learn how to shorten our decisions, but not just shorten them and make them irrationally, let's say, but shorten them and make them successful. So instead of the pros and cons list and all the time wasted and all the thoughts generated and all the future ammo that we are creating against whichever we choose, that it was definitely the wrong one because we've got all the benefits of the other one written down, what I teach my clients to do is to make a pros list, make a decision, and then make a pros list of that decision. Like, really sell themselves on why that decision is the best decision. Now, of course, just to clarify, we are doing this in a case where it's not obvious which decision this is. And I will even tell you that someone brought me in to coach a group of their clients, a group of doctors, and we spoke about this. One of them had a pros and cons list, and they were still in indecision about the thing. And I presented this to them, and they were like, well, it's really irresponsible and dangerous to do it this way. And really, like, their brain was like, oh no. But the truth is, not making a decision is often making a decision, right? It's a decision to not do anything. And that can be a lot worse. That's like a default accidental decision than making a decision on purpose. And for most of you, I imagine that you aren't doctors and it's not life or death. So I just wanted to give you that example of the extreme case when it comes to having option A and option B, and you aren't decided between them clearly. Pick an option and then sell yourself on that option before you implement it, before you're like, I'm just going to go with it and see how it goes. No, you want to be committed to that decision, to seeing it through. You want to mine your brain for all the reasons why that's the best decisions. And if any obstacles come up, any of the cons, you want to answer them. Like, okay, this con might be there, but I'm still choosing this decision because. What this means is when the inevitable happens and something doesn't go perfectly to plan, as is life, instead of your brain jumping to, well, we've got all the pros from the other decision, the other option, and we've got all the cons from this one. Maybe we made the wrong choice. Let's spin in drama around that. Instead of that happening, your brain has already been trained, wired, and conditioned to be all in on this decision. Like, you aren't going to leave at the first sign of a bump, which means you are going to continue to show up and see this decision through. Now, it's not to say that you have to stick with this decision forever and ever, right? We decide, we do, we evaluate, we learn, but we want to get through to the point of like creating results where we can learn and evaluate instead of the first speed bump and being like, you know what, I'm not sure if this is going to be right anymore and jumping off. So for each of you today, I want you to come post about a decision that is outstanding, and sell yourself. Post the decision you are deciding between option A and option B, or whether to do something or not do something, or start something or not start something, whatever it is, come and post about it, sell yourself on it, and then speak to us about the experience, and I will coach you through it. I want you to know what it feels like to implement this process. It is such a I wouldn't say time hacker. It is such a time hack. It is so powerful, and it is going to create far more success, far easier, far faster than any pros and cons list. That's it for me today. Have a wonderful rest of day. Bye, loves.